Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Throwdown. It's the August 2nd, 2020 edition, and it's time for the classic Callback. This segment was completely created so we could revisit matches from the past, give you guys a little levity or events from the past. This time we're only picking matches. Every time we do this, we pick a year, we roll the dice. We landed on 1997, Mighty Max Fury. Give us your big pick from 97.
I chose when Stone Cold won the Royal Rumble.
Yes, sir, he did. Who was the last person he eliminated? Would have been The Rock? No. I don't think it was The Rock.
What had happened was, there was 5 guys in the ring.
Yeah, who were they?
Was Austin. Actually, there was 7 people in the ring.
Yeah.
Mick Foley and Terry Funk go over the top rope together. They're fighting on the outside of the ring.
Yep.
Bret Hart eliminates Austin.
Yep.
Austin sneaks his way back into the ring. Well, as this is happening, The Undertaker and Vader are teetering on the ropes.
Yep.
Austin dumps them. Bret dumps the fake Kevin Nash, Diesel,
Glenn Jacobs,
out of the ring, thinking he's won. Austin hits him from behind, goes to the floor. Austin's
the winner. Yeah.
Referees didn't see it. Therefore,
Austin gets to steal the Rumble.
Damn good Rumble,
which I think that's the only time that's ever happened where a Rumble got stolen.
Yeah, ever. And in the to follow up on that, the very next month for In Your House that year, it was called Final Four, and they took Austin, Taker, Vader
and Bret,
and they did an over the top rope four-man to which Bret eliminated Austin to win the title.
Yeah, what a good little setup. Great little setup. And who did Bret Hart lose the title to that year at WrestleMania?
He didn't.
That's right. Where was he? Where was Bret Hart in 1997 at WrestleMania, Luke?
Bret Hart at WrestleMania in 97 wrestled Steve Austin in an I Quit match.
Yeah. Who was the champion going into WrestleMania in 1997, Luke?
Sid Vicious.
Who'd Sid Vicious lose the title to in 1997, Luke?
Mark Calloway.
Who?
Mark Calloway.
The Undertaker! You're welcome. I drug you through that specifically so I could put over Taker.
that year's Rumble, man, that was an amazing pick.
Yeah, really good pick.
I'm always a big fan of the Royal Rumble matches.
That's your favorite pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Luke, how about you? What is your 1997 match pick?
Mine is for both good and bad reasons.
Okay.
I'm going with Starrcade 97, Hulk Hogan defending the NWO World Championship against Sting for the first time.
My absolute favorite. Second absolute favorite
match should have been the biggest main event draw of all time.
Well, it was pay-per-view buys, the biggest WCW pay-per-view.
They also forked a lot of money in refunds because of the botched finish. But, I mean, an entire year build-up for Sting in the rafters, wanting Hogan. He gets Hogan. Hogan tries to play his trump card at the beginning of the day. Sting's out of shape. Doesn't really care by this time. He's like, it is what it is. Hogan's supposed to have the referee. The referee's supposed to fast count for Hogan to win. Referee does not fast count. He counts just about as slow as Nick Patrick could ever count in his entire fucking life.
Yeah, which was Hogan's fault.
Hogan is announced the winner. Bret Hart comes out, says that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Bret. Both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, comes out, and he's like, no, ain't going to happen. Sting squishes him from behind. Sharpshooter, Bret rings the bell.
Yeah.
The right way the title changed hands, wrong way to do it.
Agreed. Yeah, the fast
and the match is hard to watch.
Yeah, that whole pay-per-view was booked very interestingly if you go back and rewatch it. But yeah, Sting should have won definitively and clearly, and I don't mind the screwjob finish if it had worked. Bret Hart obviously being the special ring enforcer for that match was a good call.
Well, see, he wasn't the ring enforcer for the match. He had a ref.
Yeah, ref or whatever.
A match earlier in the night, and they said because he was a referee for the night,
qualified for him to make the call.
He could make the call, which is in no rule book anywhere.
Yeah, no. Just because you put the shirt on, Bailey, doesn't make you a real referee.
Once that match is over,
you're no longer a ref.
You're no longer a referee.
Yeah, it was a very Hogan finish to the match. Obviously, Hogan.
Second year in a row in '96 is Starrcade. Piper beats him with the sleeper hold in a match that was advertised for the championship and still doesn't get the title.
Yeah. Nonsensical. But that's favorite nation's favorite son, Hulk Hogan, at his finest, fucking the boys. It's a shame.
Anyway, what do you got for us?
I'm going Bad Blood, 97, Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Again, people often get this confused. This was the first Hell in a Cell. The most iconic Hell in a Cell was obviously Mankind and Undertaker. But the first one is Taker and Michaels. It was a great match. Also led to the debut of Kane.
Yes.
Which, if you watching it as a kid, was phenomenal. Because I remember, everything going red and dark, and Kane comes out and he rips that fucking door off, and you're like, oh god, he's gonna kill the Undertaker. It was so good.
I didn't react like that because I wasn't as big of a fan as he is. I also don't wear pink underwear.
You shut up.
Anyway, you're right. That the first Hell in a Cell was leaps and bounds better than the Undertaker and Mick Foley.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's not saying Undertaker and Mick Foley was bad.
If he would have not been thrown off the top of the cell
and then
through the cell, no one would remember it.
Well, the second one wasn't actually intended to happen.
I know, but what I'm saying is if those two things didn't happen, on the match quality of what took place by itself, it wouldn't have been remembered.
It was a moment it was a match that needed a moment instead of a moment happening in the match.
Exactly.
I get that completely.
If it wouldn't have happened, it wouldn't have been remembered. It probably would have never happened.
But on that token, it did happen, and that's why people remember it.
And people don't remember. See, but that's the thing. People consider it iconic and everything, but what they don't understand is that the match sucked. Legit. Both guys
injured going into the match.
That's true. Taker's ankle was fucked up.
Like Foley said,
he already had a fucked up shoulder.
Yeah,
and then
remember?
The second time he had
Taker scaled that cage to get up to Foley with a broken fucking ankle.
Yeah,
talk about triple tough.
In the stand-up that Foley does, he talked about in the 20-year thingamajig he did on the network. The match was The match wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they remember the fall.
Yeah.
They remember the two falls, and they remember Foley putting his tongue through his lip and being a bad motherfucker because he's a bad motherfucker.
That's true.
And that's what people remember about it. Now, when you want to talk match structure and great matches, the one you picked is fantastic.
Yeah, Michaels and Taker.
Michaels takes an ass
And if you remember, that is one of the last times, I think it might be the last time, that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels wrestle a singles match up until the point where they wrestle again at WrestleMania 26 and 7.
No.
Or 25 and 6.
No, you had one more. That would have been the Royal Rumble, the casket match.
That's right, the casket match. I always forget about that one, too. But it was one of the last ones.
It built into that thing. And they would have continued to do it if the Bret Hart thing hadn't taken place. Because the Bret Hart, it went from October, which was the Hell in the Cell that you're talking about. November was him and Bret. Which we won't go into. December was him and Bulldog.
Yeah.
Him defending the title against Bulldog at D-Generation X in your house.
Yeah.
And then back to Taker, which makes the point that if the whole Bret thing hadn't went down, it'd have probably been him and Taker to Mania.
All the way.
Without having that break, but because Bret was going to go somewhere else, they had to.
It was also really fun to watch that match because that was when, and I'm not saying like their other matches aren't great, but that was when they were both incredibly young, and their movements were so fluid even then, especially with Michaels. Michaels not as polished as he was in his 2002 run is my favorite version of Michaels. Like, I know that doesn't make sense, but when I think of Shawn Michaels in his later 2002 run, I think of him as just being perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember him messing anything up.
Well, he couldn't afford it, though. He had to be extra careful in that last run.
But I loved when Michaels was a little bit more smash mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And that run against Taker was just that.
That was drug infused, though, man. I mean, but
it worked completely, and especially their personal dualities with Taker, with Michaels always being so ostentatious and always the showman, and with Taker being Cool Hand Luke in the ring. And we're not even talking this personally. We're talking about their styles.
Yeah.
Complemented each other so well, and the Hell in a Cell was this grandiose, great big cage. It was nothing better.
Well, look at the build-up. The build-up was SummerSlam that year.
Yep.
Michaels was the ref. Bret spit in his face. He ducked.
Taker. Yep.
Then you go to Ground Zero, which was Undertaker and Michael. Or no, well, let me rephrase that. Monday Night Raw tag match.
Yeah.
Michaels hits Taker, goes heel for the first
Yeah.
time since being heel.
Yeah.
Then you've got Ground Zero that had no finish. Then you've got Bad Blood with the Hell in the Cell.
Yep.
What you got to understand is those string of matches that they had through there was the first time they had touched. Period.
Yeah.
In both of their runs, because
and if you
add that all together, that's less than 20 matches.
I think they had less than 10 matches televised outside of house shows and stuff that anybody ever got to see. They had the 2 WrestleMania matches. They had the tag match leading up to WrestleMania before that, when it was Undertaker and Batista versus John Cena and Shawn Michaels. They had the 2 moments in the Rumble, but that doesn't really qualify as a singles match.
Yeah.
So you've got those 3 matches alone. That's the only time when Michaels...
Plus, you've got Ground Zero, you've got...
Well, what I'm talking about, these 3 matches are the only time from 2002 to 2010 that they even get in the same ring together.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that overall, you had
those 4 plus
you
these
had
3.
Ground Zero, Hell in the Cell, and the Royal Rumble. That's 6 matches.
Yeah. So they had about 10 matches over
the tag match, 7 matches.
About 10 matches over their combined 30 plus years of being in the business. And
it's actually kind of unheard of.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? But it's again 2 of the most polarizing people. So honestly, it's
not like they were gone from each other.
Yeah,
the first half of their career, they were in the same company. They just
never
until also Taker didn't really like Shawn a whole lot.
That's true.
That is true. Well, but again,
in fairness, nobody really liked Shawn then.
No, not at that time.
No,
but again, also Michaels for the majority part of that first run wasn't looked at as a main level contender like the Taker was.
Yeah, no, he didn't really start even getting looked at until
94.
after his first run with the IC title was when he really started to pick up
92,
notice 93. After 93. And he'd been in the business even then, 6 years by then?
Well, but then you also got to count that they didn't even split up Jannetty and him
until the
91.
tail end of 91, yeah. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up for the classic callback. Let us know what you thought about our picks below. Let us know about your favorite match that you had in 1997. You can do that on Facebook.com/ProWrestlingThrowdown. You can send us an email at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com, or you can leave us a comment down below after you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for Armchair Booking coming your way.